It's been a good experience. It's been liberating. Again, it's very ironic that the lockdown has freed me. That's my experience of it.
One of the projects I started this year under lockdown was the Black Liberation Library. I started a very small, a micro-scale mobile library project called the Black Liberation Library, and I ran a very short pilot from October to December 2020. And it was in response to suddenly more interest in engaging with Black radical thinking and Black radical ideas, more than really I've ever seen in Scotland before, sparked by the Black Lives Matter movement in the States and the kind of uprisings around the world. So I started that, which was really rewarding because I met neighbours who I'd never met before, only ever chatted on the doorstep at a distance with masks and gloves, but being able to share books on Black liberation.
On the positive side, I've had much more time to learn some new skills, one of them being gardening, hence why I'm in the greenhouse. So I planted some seeds from scratch, and I've got some lovely cucumbers and tomatoes. Just going to turn around a little bit there so you can see that. And I've also learned how to bake cakes. Victoria sponge seems to be one of my specialities now, which I'd never ever done before. So it's been really quite enjoyable.
I've done lots of planting of seeds and have lots of different things that have some stuff coming up, some stuff hasn't come up at all. We've also been plant sharing with people over the walls in different gardens. People who've excess seeds have been giving them to us and we're giving them to them. So that's nice.
And another thing is, because of the coronavirus, this silly billy thing, I've decided, well, I was stuck in here. I've got a beautiful sewing machine. Da-da-da-da. There you are, my sewing machine. So as I had some fabrics, beautiful fabrics, so I decided to do masks. And as you can see, these are mine, okay? So this is a beautiful one, and another one, and another one, and a lovely one with the babushkas. And what I do, for instance, is I make them with a wee pocket inside, so you can put the coffee filter. See the coffee filters? And this is pie cleaner, and it makes perfect for the shape of the nose, and then there you are. So that's elastics and things like that. And last week I made my 900 masks, and as long as I help somebody not to catch it or not to spread it, I'm the happiest person.
And any spare time I've had has been used for crafting. That isn't a new skill, although I did learn how to use my sewing machine. So
I've thought of one highlight. One highlight has been my son and my husband have been doing music together, and they created worship for our church, and it was nice to see them working together using all their skills. My son actually teaching my husband and hearing them playing all the instruments and working together, and took a good whole afternoon to do that, and that's something they haven't done, so that was nice.
My time during lockdown discovering my local area. I stay in Craigleith View, which is the Black Hall area of the city, and I spent a lot of time finding areas on foot. I climbed the 7 hills of Edinburgh. I played golf locally. I started researching my family tree when it was a wet day. I spent more time in my garden, made planting boxes, raised beds for growing vegetables, made most of my purchases online, Spent less time on buses, driving my car, in pubs.
It felt like I was an international student living in any city with a well-known university. But during lockdown, I committed myself to go for a walk every day in order to exercise. And then I had a chance to know a city that was totally new for me. I discovered that my place was just half an hour away from the sea. I found lovely paths in water of lease walks, lakes that I've never seen before in Hollywood Park. And for the first time since I arrived, I really felt part of this place. I think that lockdown was certainly a challenge for me because I was away from home and I had to spend most of my time in this very tiny room. But if it wasn't for it, I wouldn't have a chance to really experience Edinburgh and feel like this place is also mine.
Ironically, it's really been a wonderful experience. I'm originally from the Philippines and I've been here in Edinburgh since September of 2018. And believe it or not, before the lockdown, I never really got the chance to visit Arthur's Seat. One day in the lockdown, I was just here at the Meadows and I saw Arthur's Seat from here. And I told myself, why don't you go there? And without any plan, I just went. I just walked and walked and walked and I reached the top and I was just so happy. The following week I did Salisbury Crags and I've been walking to different places here in Edinburgh which I've not visited before.
I'd say also what's changed is the wildlife. We were so lucky to be able to hear so much birdsong during the first lockdown. I really noticed that kind of what they called that anthropause. I think it was called the anthropause. So when humans kind of limited a bit more, minimised their impact on the environment, with not all the vehicles running through the area, and that was really, really good because you could hear just such a range of birdsong. That was a real treat.
And also at the beginning, I kept thinking this is the best thing that could happen for the environment, and that maybe we all do need to just stop a while and give everything a break. And some of the nicest things have been hearing the bird song and feeling that the air is cleaner.
Can say this, but I'm closer to my friends and my family with a bond with Zoom. It maybe doesn't make much sense, but being separated has made me closer and more thoughtful of my friends.
And one of the main things that made our life so easy during the lockdown was our kids got on really well, 8 and 10. And, I was so lucky that they were able to just play away, do their own things, not too much fighting, made everything a lot happier. We had lots of really lovely sunny weather at the start. If I remember correctly, we would spend a lot of time just sitting on chairs just outside our house, which is on the main road but set slightly back. And people would pass and people would say hello, and we got to know so many neighbours, so we know a lot of people in the community now that we never knew before, people baking cakes for each other. And I think that's a real positive. You need to try and just take the positives, I think, and that was a definite positive, meeting so many new people. And as I said, discovering lots of new places in your local area.
And spending time with my family, and we're lucky in that we're not completely isolated. Where we live is on a main road. People walk by, friends walk by, and we can say hello. So I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed connecting with people more in the sense that I now say hello to people that walk by. I've got to know my neighbours that I never knew before, that I just had sort of a nodding relationship with.
one of the things on the pandemic was amazing was being able to be part of a new way of showing solidarity and taking collective action for human rights. So being part of the 7th of June mobilisation in Holyrood Park in Edinburgh was really important to me. I was part of organising a Black community caravan for those who didn't feel safe to be in a crowd last summer, 2020. That was massive, about 70 vehicles, including bikes, children, people with disabilities, elderly members of the community, people with impairments or chronic health conditions who wanted to show their solidarity and be there during the Black Lives Matter protest of 7th of June. We were able to come together in a different way for those of us who weren't able to be in a crowd under the pandemic and maybe higher risk. That was really good. It meant my family and others could be there, and that's very memorable.
And distributing food from the supermarkets, also through another charity, the Refugee Kitchens. So it's an all win-win-win all round. Everybody seems to be benefiting, and it's just lovely to be a kind of integral part of the community, doing something useful. And even if it's just saying hello to people, just chatting to them for 2 minutes, the amount of people that have really disclosed and have opened up and connected has been really touching. I felt it's really heartfelt, that it's made a difference in people's lives. So I've loved that. That's been really good for me. So I do a lot of charity work actually.
I think the bright spot is that we're all realising that what's important in life is the people that we've got around us and not the things, the stuff. So the relationships that you build with others that matter, and there's what's going to matter the most and going to carry us through everything else. And as I said, I've been meeting with people all over the world and been collaborating on projects, and I've been exploring other ways of doing things, and I think that's probably been the brightest of them all. We shall not be defeated by anything, I think.